In this video, we will see integration between Power BI and Excel. From Excel to Power BI, there are two types. One, you are already familiar with. You import data from existing Excel using Power Query or Get and Transform in Power BI. We have already tried it many times. The second one is you already created a data model in Excel. You just want to import it in Power BI and then start from there. Now, from Power BI to Excel, you can export data. If you are in Power BI desktop, you can click on any visual and say export data. If you have published a report, again, at a visual level, you can export data, but that's a little different. And third, at a report level, you can say analyze in Excel. Or you can go to Excel and consume or use a data set which you have already published. So let's see this in action. Import data using Power Query we are already familiar with, so we are not going to cover that. But what if you already have a data model in Excel? Let's see how to import that into Power BI. This is an Excel file. Data is in data model. I also have a pivot table here. In the data model, I have three tables: transaction, countries, and products. Relationships are already created. I'm going to close this Excel file, go to Power BI. I'm not going to use from Excel workbook. Why? That will expect Excel tables to be there. We don't have Excel tables, we have data model. So go to File menu, Import, Power Query, Power Pivot, choose the file, and now you will get a separate import dialog. Click on the Start button. We'll try to understand what is there in the data model. So it figured out there are three queries, three tables, and one measure as well. Click on Close. All these will now be imported. Now the three tables are imported and the model is also imported. Now I can go ahead and use Power BI to build the report. Now remember, this is a one-time import, but if the original data changes, this data model is not going to refresh. Now let's explore how Power BI data can be consumed in Excel. There are three things here. First, let's start with the visual level. Now in visual level, you have two options. While you're working in Power BI desktop, you can export data, or after you have published the report on web, at visual level, you can export the data. This is a Power BI report. Power BI data reuse is the file name. You can try it out yourself. I've already created a very simple report. We have one column chart, one bar chart, and a matrix. Underlying tables, there are just two tables, transactions and products. I'm in Power BI desktop. Now, if I want to export the data for a particular visual, I hover on it, go to these three dots, more options, and say export data. This is just going to be a CSV, and of course, it has no linkage to the data. The other option you have is first publish the report. Now, the same report I have published on Power BI service or the web version. It's in view mode, and even here you can go to any visual, hover on it, and you will get the same export data option. But this gives you different set of options. It says summarize data. It'll create an Excel file and it's a live connection. That means tomorrow when you refresh your Power BI report with new data, this Excel file potentially can refresh. This option is only available for matrix and table, and the other option is entire underlying data, but it's usually disabled because report authors don't want the entire raw data to be given to users. So if I say export, it's going to create a new file. When you open that file, you'll have to log in, and after authentication, the data will be given to you not as a chart but as a table. This table can still be refreshed. So this is a visual level export from Power BI web service. Now let's look at the next option. After you publish this, you have an export option, and there we have something called analyze in Excel. This will also create an Excel file. You can either open it on web or on desktop, enable content, and then you will see the entire model here. Now you can build your own pivot table, and this is also refreshable. Next, let's see how to consume Power BI data from Excel. Here I have published the report, and along with the report, the data set is also published. Now what I want is this data set should be available to me in my Excel. In order to do that, you have to first make that data set visible. So click on the three dots next to the data set, go to settings. There's a long list of options. What we are looking for is endorsement. Basically, it means this raw data I want to consume in Excel as well, but I have already done the cleanup data modeling in Power BI. I don't want to repeat that effort. So you just say promote and then click apply. Now let's go to Excel. There's a blank new file. How do I get that data set in Excel? There are two ways of doing it. If I want to create a pivot table directly, I can go to insert pivot table from Power BI. And now it will show me all the data sets which are promoted or certified. It takes some time for it to get listed here, but we know the name, so we can search for it. Now let's see what's available here. It's telling me details about the workspace, who owns it, when was it refreshed, and now it's also telling me what is there in the semantic model, which reports in Power BI depend on it. And if I want to see that, I can open the Power BI page from here. Here you can insert the data as table or pivot table. I'm going to insert it as a pivot table. I have the data model. So let's create a simple pivot table here. I can do whatever I want with it, pivot table, charts, and all that. But the important thing to understand is this pivot table is now refreshable. So if I go to pivot table analysis, data source, connection properties, refresh and open, and if the data is changing frequently, then I can even keep this file open and it will auto refresh. There's one more way to access the data. You go to data, get data, which is Power Query. Then you go to Power Platform from Power BI, and you will still get the promoted data sets visible here. So what is the best practice? We don't want to import and clean up data twice. And the same data, you may want to make reports in Power BI as well as Excel. So the correct way to do it is get the data, import it, clean it, shape it, create a data model all within Power BI desktop. Publish it as a report, and then the data set you promote. Once it is promoted, the data set is available in Excel, and now you can use it to import it as a table or as a pivot table. In either case, it's refreshable and the same source data is being managed. So that's it. Thank you.